Ethan Marlowe had never considered himself an especially remarkable man. He wasn't the sort who commanded a room when he walked in, and he wasn't the kind whose ideas instantly made a boardroom go silent. But he was steady, dependable, and quietly ambitious. For the past 7 years, he had worked at Veridian & Company, a mid-sized marketing firm tucked into the 32nd floor of a downtown skyscraper. Most people barely noticed him, but one person did. Her name was Cassandra Blake. Cassandra had joined the company 3 months earlier as the new creative director. To Ethan, she seemed like a force of nature, confident, elegant, electric. When she spoke, the whole office paused, caught in the gravity of her voice. Her ideas were fresh, bold, sometimes reckless but always brilliant. She had the kind of energy Ethan had always admired from a distance that he never expected her to notice him, but she did. That IT started small, a comment on his tie, a joke by the coffee machine, a slight smile that lingered a second too long. Ethan tried to ignore it. He was married, after all. He loved his wife, Marissa. They'd been together since college, built a quiet life together. Yet lately their home felt muted, conversations drifting into autopilot, nights spent facing opposite directions in bed, and in that space of emotional grayness. Cassandra's bright attention felt intoxicating. The first twist. Their first private moment happened on a rainy Thursday. The office was nearly empty. Some people had left early due to a power glitch in the building. Cassandra walked toward Ethan's desk, heels clicking softly across the polished floor. "Ethan," she said, leaning in slightly. "Do you have a moment?" He swallowed. "Sure." She led him into the glass conference room, ironically the one with the least privacy, and shut the door. "I need your help," she said. "The Benson project pitch is falling apart, and you're the only analyst who actually understands the data well enough to salvage it." Her tone was intense, but not flirtatious. Not yet. They worked for almost 2 hours, the room glowing faintly with streetlight reflections. Cassandra moved close whenever she looked over his laptop, her perfume drifting toward him like a slow, deliberate wave. Ethan tried to focus on spreadsheets, but his pulse said otherwise. At 9:17 p.m., something changed. As Cassandra leaned over him, reaching for the laptop trackpad, her hand brushed his. She didn't pull away, not immediately. When she finally did, her movement was slow, intentional. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice warming. "Most people don't work this hard unless someone forces them." "I don't mind helping," Ethan replied. "I know," she said. "That's why I picked you." She gave him a long look. "A dangerous one." Then she left the room. The second twist. Over the next few weeks, Cassandra began involving Ethan in more projects. She praised his work in meetings, requested his presence during client calls, and occasionally sent him late-night emails that felt personal. Marissa, meanwhile, grew suspicious of Ethan's longer hours. "You never used to work this much," she said one evening as they sat at dinner. "There's a new director," Ethan replied. "She's expecting a lot." "Is that all she's expecting?" Marissa asked, her tone sharper than usual. The truth was out of reach for Ethan, floating somewhere between guilt and denial. One night, after a particularly stressful project deadline, Cassandra texted him, "Cassandra, come to the 18th floor lounge. Need to talk. Urgent." His heart thudded. He knew he shouldn't go, but he did. The lounge was dimly lit, empty, echoing with the low hum of the building's ventilation. Cassandra stood near the window, city lights reflecting across her silhouette. "Ethan," she said quietly. "I can't keep pretending." "Pretending what?" he asked. "That I brought you into my projects only for your skill." His throat tightened. "You're brilliant," she continued. "But that's not the reason." Then what is? Cassandra stepped closer. You know. He did. And yet, I'm married, Ethan whispered. I noticed, she said. Doesn't change how I feel. Her hand brushed his cheek, gentle, deliberate, and Ethan froze that he felt the weight of choice pressing down on him, his vows, his loneliness, the magnetic pull of someone who saw him in a way he hadn't felt in years. But before he could answer, the lounge door opened. That IT was Tony Ramirez, their IT specialist. Sorry, Tony muttered awkwardly. Didn't mean to interrupt. Cassandra stepped away quickly, but Tony's eyes had already widened. That he knew what he saw, and Tony talked. That the third twist. By Monday morning, gossip spread like wildfire. Two interns whispered near the elevator. A manager stared at Ethan longer than usual. Someone muttered, "Homewrecker," near the break room. Cassandra confronted Ethan in her office. Someone told HR, she said flatly. What? We didn't do anything. They think we did, Cassandra replied. And perception is reality here. Ethan's stomach dropped. What's going to happen? I don't know. She exhaled sharply. But I won't let them fire you. I'll tell them you were helping with projects. Nothing more. And what about what almost happened? He asked. Cassandra hesitated. Ethan, maybe it shouldn't happen. Not if it risks everything. Ethan felt something crack inside him, not heartbreak exactly, but confusion, relief, and disappointment twisted together. Before they could talk more, HR summoned them. Workplace conduct. Tony. It had to be. Cassandra lifted her chin. Nothing inappropriate happened. And you? Ms. Larrington said, looking at Ethan. He nodded. She's telling the truth. Be aware, the director continued, that even the appearance of impropriety can damage this company. We understand, Cassandra replied. After an hour of stern warnings, policy reminders, and implications that bordered on threats, they were released. Ethan walked out feeling wrung dry. Cassandra followed him into the hallway. Ethan. I'm sorry, she said. This is my fault. No, he said. We both played a part. She looked at him as though searching for something in his eyes, hope, perhaps, or permission to continue what they had begun. But he didn't offer it. Maybe we should keep some space, Ethan said. She nodded slowly. Yeah. Maybe. But that wasn't the end. The fifth twist, the email. 3 days later, Ethan received an email from Marissa. Subject: we need to talk. His chest tightened. Somehow, she knew something. Maybe he had been too distracted, too distant. Maybe someone had told her. Ethan braced himself and went home early that evening. Marissa sat at the kitchen table, laptop open. I found something, she said quietly. What is it? Ethan asked, dread creeping up his spine. She turned the screen toward him. It was a forwarded email, sent anonymously to her personal account. A screenshot of Tony's security footage. A grainy image from the 18th floor lounge. Of Ethan and Cassandra standing close. Too close. Who sent you this? Ethan whispered, horrified. No idea, Marissa replied. But it doesn't matter. What matters is this what it looks like? Ethan's mouth went dry. We didn't. Nothing happened, he said. We just talked. But you wanted something to happen, Marissa said. Not a question, a statement, and Ethan had no answer. The sixth twist, the truth behind the gossip. The next morning, Ethan stormed into the IT department. Tony sat at his desk, sipping coffee. You sent that email? Ethan asked sharply. Tony blinked. What email? To my wife. What? No. Why would someone forwarded camera footage to her? Ethan snapped. Tony raised his hands. Ethan, I swear, I didn't send anything. I told HR what I saw, yeah, but I didn't contact your wife. Ethan paused, breath shaking that if not Tony, then who? He found out later that day. As he returned from lunch, he overheard two employees whispering. Cassandra's old rival in Chicago sent the footage. One said she wants Cassandra fired so she can swoop in and take her job. Ethan froze. Cassandra wasn't the enemy. He wasn't the enemy. Someone else was pulling strings the whole time. The final twist, the confrontation. That evening, Ethan found Cassandra in her office, staring at a half-packed box. You're leaving? He asked. She nodded. The board asked me to resign. They think my reputation is too disruptive. That's not fair, Ethan said. You didn't do anything wrong. Cassandra looked at him with a tired smile. We both know it wasn't completely innocent. He couldn't argue. I know who sent the footage, Ethan said quietly. Someone from Chicago. A rival of yours. I figured, Cassandra replied. She's been after my job for years. Then fight it, Ethan said. Expose her. Cassandra shook her head. I'm tired of fighting. And maybe this is a sign. She paused. Ethan, if things had been different, maybe, he whispered. They stood in silence for a moment. Finally, Cassandra stepped forward and gently placed a hand on his arm. Take care of your marriage, she said softly. Take care of yourself. And with that, she walked out, leaving her keycard on the desk. Ethan watched her go, feeling both relieved and strangely hollow. Epilogue. Weeks passed, the gossip faded. HR moved on. A new director replaced Cassandra, less electric, more predictable. Ethan and Marissa began attending therapy. It wasn't easy, but they started peeling back layers of resentment, loneliness, and miscommunication that had built up long before Cassandra arrived. One day, Marissa asked him, "Do you miss her?" Ethan thought for a long time. No, he said finally. I miss who I was when she noticed me. Marissa nodded. She understood. They worked on rebuilding, not the old marriage, but a new version. One with honesty instead of assumptions, attention instead of autopilot. As for Cassandra, Ethan received a postcard 6 months later. A beach in Lisbon. A scribbled note on the back, a new city, a new start. I hope you found yours too. See, Ethan smiled, tucked the postcard into a drawer, and moved on, because some stories aren't about endings. They're about turning points.